Hello, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Cards. My name is Bobby. On Behind the Cards, I do interviews with people in the tarot world, in the spiritual community. I've interviewed deck creators, authors, um, poets are my next goal. I want to find a poet.
Yeah.
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 Today, we are discussing the life of Aley Martin. Hi, Aley. How you doing today?
I'm fine, Bobby. Thank you for inviting me. I was looking forward to this. Yes, and thanks to my
I am.
supporters here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have you. I've been wanting to do. We did a show before, and we were
Mhm.
talking about it, and I'm just excited, and I'm glad I didn't mess the time
No
up.
problem.
I live in Arizona, you guys, and I'm on Mountain Standard Time. Our time never changes, so
Right.
yeah, I mess it up a lot. So we're gonna say hi to some people as
Yeah.
we let them filter in. I'm
Mhm.
doing the Pez head thing again. Okay, Lisa. This is a beautiful message you put.
It is.
So
It's
whatever you say will be soul medicine for somebody. That is true.
wow.
When we
Yeah.
do live readings, even though we're not reading for a specific person, that message can reach a lot of people.
It can. Yeah.
All right, let's see, Jen. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jen. I love the new picture. Looks good.
Let's see, Mary Starshine. What a great name. Oh
I
my
know,
God.
isn't it? I know. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I almost said hi to I'm so connected. I'll tell you the truth. When I first met you, I was confusing your name and Marina's name
Oh,
a lot.
Marina's, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I saw you guys on a show together, and
Uh-huh. Yep.
yeah, so that's where that came.
No
And if you
problem.
guys honestly haven't seen Marina, which I find hard to believe, you really need to check her out. She's
Marina,
awesome.
yeah, Marina's wonderful. Hi, Linda. Yes. All right.
Butterfly readings. I am intrigued.
She's really
So,
good. Yeah. Hey,
Julianne,
Julie.
Julie is going to be taking the Fool's Journey in August.
Oh, awesome. Oh, I can't wait to
Yeah.
see it. That's
Yeah, I'm
great.
lining up some really, really good people, and I'm
Good.
excited about it. And the thing is Julie's been in my chat for almost a year now, and I'm trying to get to everybody. I really am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I finally had to stop and say, look, it'll happen when it happens.
Yeah, I know. It is hard to coordinate everything too with different time zones. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you add Europe into that, and we're all kinds of screwed.
Right. That's
Maureen,
right.
Maureen, how you doing, my love? Motto, I love my little
Hello,
Maruta.
Amanda. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
more are filtering in.
Uh-huh.
If I don't say hi to you, I do apologize. Um, I'm trying.
You are.
Swampy.
Doing fine.
What a great name.
Yeah.
Which name is going to be one of the questions I'm going to ask you about how you came to your channel name. I really love that.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Edward.
Edward, how you doing? Jenny. I
Hey,
can't
Jenny.
say Jenny without thinking Harry Potter. That's why I say it like that.
Oh,
Jenny. I'm a
okay.
big, big Harry Potter fan.
Oh,
All right, everybody. Winds of Reflection. Yeah, the
cool.
people just
Hi, I like
filtering
that
in.
name. Yeah.
And
Charlie.
our channel links are in the description box. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please, I ask you to do so. And if you are not subscribed to Ellie's channel, you should be because the woman's awesome. So here's the thing. Before I do shows, I like to draw a crystal out of my little crystal bag here.
Oh, okay.
And for your crystal, I drew the Herkimer diamond. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's a
That's
strong
wonderful.
connection.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
It is.
I like to
Yep.
do that because it gives me a kind of idea of the energy we're going to deal with today. So
Yep.
that tells me we're going to be connecting with a lot of people on a very cool way. So if you've never seen the show, what I'm going to do is go card by card through the major arcana. I will ask questions based on those 22 cards, probably with some follow-up questions. Today, I will be using my Universal Tarot from Los Scarabeo. This is my big deck.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You ready, girlfriend?
All set.
All right. Now, please, there are no questions being taken today for readings, but I am asking that if you have questions for Aley, now is the time to ask him. I know we can't really ask a lot of personal questions when we're seeing somebody working when they're reading. This
Mhm.
isn't that type of show. Now is the time to ask those questions. Okay.
Yeah.
The goal here is to understand everybody has a story, everybody has a path, and that's what I'm interested in. Fatima, how you doing? How's your brother? I haven't seen him around since that first show.
Mm.
All right. So, and here we go. Our first card today is the Fool. The Fool is about new beginnings, innocence, purity, adventure, and rebellion. Here he is. Now,
Mhm.
how did your spiritual journey begin?
Okay.
Were you a child, an adult?
Yeah, I was a teenager. Well, actually, I have to step back even further. I was about 11. My friend and I went to get an ice cream cone and saw a UFO on the way back home. And that really, you know, was like, wow, this is a true thing. There is something to be said about this. And it was after that that I had interest in astrology and a lot of other things. But this was the mid 60s. And so in the mid 60s, you didn't have a lot of information. No.
You
And
also
so it was
didn't
really hard
talk
to
about
find
it if
things.
you.
Yeah. 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 You couldn't talk about it, or you couldn't talk about gay people. I mean, you couldn't talk about anything like that, any woo-woo thing or whatever. But yeah, that was probably my introduction to it. And I went home and my dad said, "Oh, come on." And my mom said, "No, your brothers have seen one too." So yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, now here's my question for you. Do you think it was random?
No, I don't think any of those are random. It was very low. I was walking up a hill to my house and it came right over. I would say if I looked up, it was, probably halfway up the tree line. So it was very, very, very low and had all lights. It had no sound. And it just draws you up. You can't help it. You look right up and the brightness of it. And so my friend and I, we never forgot that. She's never forgotten it either. Yeah.
I live in Arizona, um, near Phoenix. I used to live near Phoenix. Now
Uh-huh.
I'm near Tucson. But if you really want a fun deep dive, sometime look up the Phoenix lights. It's
Yeah.
we do get extraterrestrial appearances here near us,
Well,
and
in
it's just become
yes,
normal. People are like, "Yeah, it's an
Superstition
alien."
Mountain, and
Yeah,
Superstition. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Flying Dutchman. Yeah,
Yes, right. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
I love that you know where that is. Yes. All right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Mhm.
So, did how did that affect your viewpoint going forward with spirituality? What kind of doors did it open? Did you have a specific area you were aiming for, or did you just kind of fall into?
I kind of just fell into other things. My mom was reading Ruth Montgomery at the time, who was one of the earlier writers about spiritual, not religious things, and walk-ins and things like that. And so she was very open to it. So when I was in sixth grade, they bought me a Ouija board, which was not a very good idea, quite frankly, but nothing bad came of it or anything. And they didn't know it was not really a cool thing to give me. But, my parents were always really open to any interest that I had. And it just, from there, it just spurred on more and more as I got older. But yeah, it would have been mid-60s that it started. Mhm.
Okay. Well, I just see Marina came in. Hi, Marina. We had just said your name, and here you are. I
Mhm.
was hoping you'd show up.
We manifested
So
you.
we manifested. So our
Mhm.
next card is the Magician. This is willpower, manifestation, creation, communication, and building
Mhm.
something. I like to go with the communication aspect of it. This
Mhm.
card is ruled by Mercury. Now, when you started going down the woo-woo path, let's call it,
Mhm.
um, how we how did communicating that to the rest of the world go?
Um, so I would say that it was more around the, I mean, I dabbled in it throughout my life, but it was more in the 1980s that it really came out full force. And I was able to go to the harmonic convergence in 1987. And
Ooh,
so it was awesome because when we went there, there were tons of um, pagans and others. We had it at Mystery Hill Cave in that was the name of it. It's called America's Stonehenge now, in Salem, New Hampshire. My friend's father owned it, and so she and I went together, and we just had the best time. And it was a little earlier than that. I remember singing "The Age of Aquarius," of course, in the high school
this
choir.
is the dawn.
Yeah, we had all that. So it was like it was, we knew it was coming. We were waiting for it to come. And by the time um we got to that part where the harmonic convergence came out, where all these planets were converging in the right way. It was like people said, "Oh, there she goes. You know, she's interested in that." I've always been that person that's tried something different than a lot of other people, though. Yeah. Oh,
I
you
understood.
did.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
awesome.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to ask, was there any individuals that were you flying solo, or did you have somebody at least giving you some kind of direction?
Um, it was tough. I did a lot of book reading, and I bought my first cards and worked on that. But I really needed some help. So again, in the 80s, I had a woman who was beginning to teach me tarot, but then I moved, so I didn't get to finish with her. But and I had a lot of other people that were willing to listen and not judge or think I was crazy or whatever. I just but it's almost, the times were so different then. I didn't really have somebody that I knew that was going to walk me down a path until, say, the 80s and then the 90s. Yeah. Yep.
Hi,
Oh,
Hershey's. Yes. And this is a
hi.
good question for Maureen. What was the most profound experience you had? Let's put it in this time frame in the early years.
In the early years. Okay.
Yes.
So something came up in my life, and I was supposed to, and I learned all about spirit guides somehow. I can't remember how I learned about them, but I thought somebody said, go up to your room and meditate and ask for your spirit guide to come through, ask them their name. So I said to my then husband and my son, who was 2, I said, mommy's going upstairs for a little while, and you play down here and, talk to daddy if you need him, and I'll be down in a few minutes. And so I went upstairs, shut the door. In that experience, I was told that my spirit guide's name was Darlene, and I had a nemesis named Darlene. So immediately I said, can I call you something else? Can I call you Darla? And the spirit guide said, sure, that's okay. That's okay. So I said, well, thank you. And I walked downstairs afterwards. I walked around the corner, and there's my little boy. And he looks up at me and he goes, hi, mommy. Where's Darla?
Oh, cool. How did that strike you?
It was, well, number one, I know kids are really tuned in
Yeah.
at that age. I really did. But that was so amazing to me. That name was not a name that we ever said in the house, ever. And he couldn't hear because everything was
Right.
done here, even though, and I was upstairs. But for me, that just that indicated to me that I was right, and it also indicated to me that children can and do know things,
Yeah.
and we never dismiss them. Yeah, yeah.
I was lucky. I came from a family, the best way I could say it, I came from a woo-woo witch family.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah.
I was raised with supernatural events, ghosts in the house. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and we weren't taught, oh, don't pay attention. Don't. We were taught how
Right.
to deal with them, how to interact with them, how
Yeah.
to.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
That's awesome.
so what you say
Mhm.
about kids being in tune, they are, and it
Yeah.
is sad that the older generation
Yeah.
tries to
Yeah.
stamp that out.
Poo-poo's it. Yeah. Yeah. It is. You have to encourage it, and they'll talk more if you do as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Plus, starting that young, you get a little more practice on how to view things. So if you guys are raising little witches or psychics, encouraged.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's cool.
So our next card, the High Priestess. The High Priestess represents intuition, mystery, and the subconscious mind. Um,
Hmm.
this card, we're going to go with the subconscious elements. Have your guides in how has your spirit team grown since then?
My
Would you say
spirit
that?
team was always cheering me on, bringing me new experiences, taking me to new places to meet new people that taught me something new all the time. But sometimes as life goes on, you have children, you have a job, kind of quiets things down. But my spirit team has grown pretty exponentially. They're always there. I remember one time walking down a hallway at one of the schools I taught at, and there was one of my colleagues coming toward me, and I said, "Are you okay?" And something about them just didn't, and they said, "How did you know?" And it was like those little ways that spirit team would reach out for me to say to other people something that they needed to hear, that I was just simply listening to and saying. So
Yeah,
and it took me a long time because I shut down for a while, and it wasn't until the pandemic came and things were even keel that I really jumped back in full force, and my spirit team was there. Thank God you woke up.
right. Let's
Yes.
touch
Yeah.
on that real quick. The
Okay.
pandemic
Hmm.
knocked a lot of people into gear spiritually. It really did. I think
Yep.
that we were called into action. I like to think of it as the
Yeah.
national reserves. We were
Yeah.
called in by
Or
the
the
spirit
world
to
reserves in that case. Yeah. Yeah.
we
Absolutely.
are we were
Yeah.
here to help the world through a difficult time.
Yeah.
And that difficult time isn't over. We were
No.
talking about that backstage.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever have any doubts that
About
this
my ability?
connection?
About my,
Yes,
yes, absolutely. In fact, started my channel as a channel that mostly was interviewing other people and not doing any readings. Not, no, because I couldn't do the same thing they could do. And
right.
so I'll go on there and but I am spiritual and I've been following this all this time, but it was like, oh, what if I'm wrong? And that whole thing. So yes, I have to say I did. And working with several people in the very beginning of my time here really opened the door for me and made me realize that there was a lot more that I could do that I didn't think I could do. So I give my full credit to those folks. And
I
it
agree.
really, yeah, it really helped. People here are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect when I jumped on YouTube the first time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand what you're saying. About not
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing everybody else does. That's why I
Yeah,
make
yeah,
shows
yeah.
like this,
Uh-huh.
and
But this is
I try
good.
to keep
Yeah, this is all right.
I try to
Yeah.
keep my channel for something for everybody, from the
Yeah.
deep thinkers for this to 420 tarot. It's not for everybody, but uh,
It's all right though. Yeah. I love them.
everybody deserves fun.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the Next card on our list is the Empress, and this is about fertility, beauty, and abundance.
Yep. I
Um,
love the Empress.
when did you realize you were meant to share this knowledge and not just experience it?
I'll have to say it was probably around probably 2021, 2022. I started doing readings, and I do oracles, as most people know. I also now have delved into mediumship and Akashic records and things like that. And I recognized that all the time that I didn't think I knew all that stuff, it was always there. I just hadn't tapped
Just
into it yet.
remembered.
Yeah.
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 That's what I tell people. I've said it before on my channel. It's I don't actually see things. I remember them. I remember the future. I remember
That's what
something
it is.
hasn't happened.
That's
Yeah.
what it is, Bobby. It is. It's we
And
know all this stuff, but now we have to remember what we know. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Time is kind of all wibbly wobbly bendy, so it's all one big thing. That's a concept I really had to get past in order
Sure.
to do
Yeah,
readings for
you
people.
do. Yeah.
Because when I first started doing live readings online, I was throwing all the energy I had, thinking I had to reach you on the other side of the world. So I was going to throw everything into it.
Yes.
Eventually, I learned that's not the way you do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Live and learn.
But
it is.
yeah, live and learn.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you are somebody who is a guiding light, Aley. You truly are. Your words do reach people, and you make a difference.
Thank you.
The Emperor is
Yeah.
about authority, structure, and leadership. Yes, we were talking about you being a leader, but I know the question I want to ask. It's about when we first start recognizing our gifts, it's like we're in a store with a free credit card and we're just pulling things off the shelf trying to do everything all at once.
Like 100,000 cards too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. When was it a conscious choice to follow the mediumship and the Akashic records, or did it just develop? Did your spirit guides whisper?
Yeah. So I took a class actually in psychic opening, and it was really good. And then I went on with the person that I used to work with all the time in the very beginning, who was a medium and a psychic. And something happened, and she was doing the reading, and then I said, did he like to dance? I see him standing in a line. I see him standing in a line. We were on the show. I said, and the person said, yes, my brother liked to dance. And I got that he died of AIDS, but I didn't say it. And I said, she said he was one of the earliest members that came out. He was going to a gay club all the time and dancing. But when he died of AIDS in I guess the 80s or the early 90s. And the other reader looked at me and went, see, girl, you know what you're doing. And I hadn't even taken a class in that mediumship, hadn't. And so I thought to myself, without going too crazy, like, oh, look at me, because I didn't want to do that either. I'm like, okay, I have to trust myself a little bit more and work through. It was the trust issue for what I was coming through. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Linda.
That's the thing. When I teach psychic development or tarot, I'm also teaching somebody how to trust themselves is the main thing, how to make those connections. Everybody does their gig differently. Yep. The way I do mine isn't the same as you do yours. Think of it like dancing or singing. Everybody has the capability to do it. Some people do it better. Some people don't. Some people are gonna knock you in the face if they try, but everybody has it in them. Only thing that makes us different is that we've acknowledged it and have sought to nurture it.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. Yep. And have you
What's
ever had a card that you've pulled for somebody and you're like, no, I don't want to say, I don't like that card. And you put it down
yes.
and you do it again and that card comes out again. It's like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, you can't screw with Mother Nature. You know? It's kind of
that's
like,
true. I'll give
yeah.
you a for instance. I was reading for a girlfriend of mine here in town,
Mhm.
and I laid down the cards and I looked at it and I was like, well, that can't be right. And I started with reshuffling. I was like, I'm not going to tell her that. But later that day, there was a major incident with her son. So,
Uh-huh.
and I was
So it
kicking
was the
myself.
correct reading. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and I had to apologize to her and say, look, I
Right.
should have, because she saw what I did. She
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
tarot. And she
Okay.
knew I was like, just didn't want to say it. But yeah.
Oh,
Um,
that.
have you had to defend yourself
As far as
when,
tarot and
as far
spiritually,
as
yeah, yeah.
spirituality?
You know, I've had to defend myself more for being a Buddhist. Um, I was
Really?
on Facebook and I've had people say, what's wrong with our Lord Jesus Christ? I said, nothing's wrong with our Lord Jesus Christ. He's fabulous. He's one of the best teachers there ever was. I just happen to like Buddha and the Buddhism religion. It's not really a religion.
You
It's a
like the
philosophy.
Buddha?
I do. I like the Buddha. He's a fat guy, you know, he's a good guy. But people are like, well, you really need, I need to save you. And I need to send you this book or I need, you know, no, thank you. I was a Sunday school teacher when I was a little
Yeah.
girl. I mean, I'm not adverse.
I went
And
to
I,
Christian
yeah.
high school. My
Oh,
mama
good.
sent us there
Yeah.
because she didn't want to be accused
Balance,
of, yeah,
balance.
she didn't want to be accused of raising us in that tradition. She gave us the
Yeah.
knowledge of what's
Yeah.
around us. This is
Yeah.
Christianity. This is witchcraft. This is this. You make
Uh-huh.
your own decision. And
That's
I
right.
did.
Good.
So I honestly believe that there are times we do have to defend our beliefs,
Uh-huh.
but honestly, I don't defend them in the same way anymore. Do you
Don't
get
need to do
truly?
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Mhm.
it's not. I don't feel
Uh-huh.
it.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Uh-huh. I
Last
feel
year,
that way.
somebody had said something to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, okay,
All right. You do you. I'll do me.
vaya con Dios, okay."
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
get
our
it.
next card is the Hierophant, and I keep going back to the teaching thing with you.
Hmm.
Tradition,
Yeah.
spirituality, teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll explain how I see the Hierophant card, and it'll tell you the question I'm going for. Um, the Kabbalah association with this card means nail, vav. It's the nail that connects two things, a
Hmm.
picture to the wall, that type of thing. That is you. You are a nail. You connect the divine to the earth.
Hmm.
Um, that's your card. Play.
That's cool. Yeah.
The spirits and tarot span all religions except one. I don't know about that.
She said
Uh,
span. She misunderstood it was span, not spam.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
There's a difference. Yeah. Yeah. They span
oh.
religions. Yeah.
That's different. Okay. Yes, it
Thank
does.
you, John. Yeah.
Tarot is the gateway drug, is what I call it.
It is.
Uh,
Yep. Yep.
because people ask me, how can I strengthen my intuition? How can I do this?
Yeah.
Tarot. That's how
Hmm.
you trust it. You learn to
Yeah.
trust yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so you're you made reference to literary classes in teaching.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
teach outside the spiritual community also.
Hmm. Yeah. For 26 years.
So
Mhm.
you were just a natural born teacher. Um,
Mm. When I was in high school, they had a Future Teachers of America, and I would go out once a month as a 14-year-old and teach in a classroom with students. And then I went to a teachers college, and then it wasn't until I got my master's degree and started doing teaching at the college level that I learned about all the religions. I mean, I read about them. I had classes in them. It was humanities that I was teaching. And I knew I couldn't teach spirituality in the college level, but I knew humanities had somewhat of that in it. So that's why I got the degree. I thought I had to have credibility. So I went for the degree. Yeah.
That's an interesting fact. You said credibility. That sparked something which I was going to ask you about earlier.
Okay.
One of the biggest questions I get asked, especially when I do psychic fairs where I'm doing people all day long, how do I connect? What's the starting point? Where do I begin? What would you say to somebody like that?
As far as spirituality goes,
As far as developing their intuition.
Yeah. I say that we all need different tools in a toolbox. That's what a builder does. And so find something that interests you. Akashic Records didn't originally interest me, but I went and I took the class, and then everybody else was reading the Akashic Records, and it was great. And I was thinking, this is great, but I was helping Val do her class. And so I went more than once. I went 5 or 6 times. The next thing you know, I was able to do it. But it wasn't like it was mandatory. I do it at the beginning. So it was almost as though I let it roll over me. And then so whatever, start with something that interests you. If it's dreams, if it's, working with oracles or tarot, whatever it might be, you want to be engaged with that. And then as you move in, you may find yourself being in a different situation where you find something that really fits you. Oh, there's my friend Garnet. Hi, Garnet.
Aley. Oi, oi, oi.
That's right. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
The teaching can be devastating to us. At least for me, when I first started, I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to.
I've been one since I was a little girl. No problem. Yeah. But
I said it for decades. I'm not a teacher. I'm not going to do it. But I realized I've been teaching all along. So
you were digging your heels in, and
I refused.
Yeah.
I just refused. And then the gods finally said, "You really don't have a choice." And they put people in my life that didn't give me a choice. Put it that way.
You're not the only one, Bobby. There's a lot of people that have channels here that are introverts and said, no way would I ever do a channel. Now, with me, that wasn't a problem. But for other people, I've seen it over and over again. So that's just you in a nutshell, only with the teaching idea of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Aley is a great teacher. Yes.
Thank you, Garnet.
I love watching you give readings, Aley. Number one, you're always smiling. With me, a lot of the time, I'm like this and dour because I give negative readings when I read with somebody. They're all comfortable giving the positive. I give the bad shit.
That's okay.
Good cop, bad. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable giving people warnings. Because I know it's for their benefit.
Well, it's whatever it is. If that's your truth, then you're living it. When I have to give bad news, I kind of just couch it. That's all. I'll say, I don't know about this card. It could be that somebody's talking about you behind your back, or, and it's not necessarily you're going to get screwed over by somebody. I think it's all in the delivery.
I'll ask a question. What I'm seeing here is that somebody in your life has been talking about you behind your back, and you just found out about it. Is that what's happening? And if I'll take it from there. You look forward to an Aley get started.
I can. You're right. Yeah.
Aley is sweet.
You're sweet, Garnet. Thank you.
So our next card is the Lovers.
Oh boy.
Now, the Lovers card, where's my little thingy? There it is about love, relationships, duality, and choices. How has your relationships been affected by your spiritual beliefs, because I know I've had people break up with me because of them.
Yep. It happens to a lot of people. You got to find someone that either tolerates what it is that you do and you know, or is like you. And the first couple of husbands I had, no, they weren't that interested in it. You know, they thought it was kind of weird, but I've had better luck finding a partner that, you know, may not do exactly everything I do, but is totally
It's
behind
open.
what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I've
Absolutely.
got one of those. We've been together
That's
25 years, and
wow. Yeah. Perfect.
I
Me
used to be
too.
in
I'm
a relationship with
years.
somebody. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yeah. I used to be in a relationship with somebody who was very supportive, and they would buy me books, buy me this, buy me that. And I realized they were trying to direct
Mold.
my
Oh,
learning
mold. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Okay.
like put things in my path that they felt I should learn, not what I felt. So that's it. Relationship didn't work out. Now I'm with
Mm.
somebody who has absolutely no interest in the spiritual, supernatural. He's Christian. There's that. But
Okay. Yeah.
um, we stay out of each other's lanes and we're good.
If it works, then that's wonderful. It really does. Yeah.
Ish. um, so can you give us a for instance on how the
Yeah. So let's start with the fact that I'm a Libra,
okay, balance,
which is all about relationships and all about all the other things that, so I've gone through,
transpersonal?
yeah, lots of transformations. I would say that I probably, and I believe in, I love change. I really love change. It doesn't mean I want to get divorced to make that change happen, but it does mean that I won't put up, I have, you know, we have more than one life, but I'm dealing with this one right now. And if I don't like what's going on, goodbye. Yeah, it's not it. And so it has to benefit both people. It has to. And the same with relationships with friends. And I have a really very good best friend that I've been friends with since 1981. And we have a wonderful relationship. So, oh, networking. Yeah.
That's the big thing. I work with Lord Hermes, the god of communication. So that
Uh-huh.
is a big thing for me. That is a big motivator for me to do what I do.
Uh-huh.
Uh, 10-4, good buddy. Audra, how you doing, love?
Ooh, look at that picture. That's nice.
Right?
Mhm.
All right. So now we've asked about your transpersonal relationships. Now we're going to ask about your family relationships
Okay.
with the Chariot card. This is ruled by Cancer. Cancer deals with your lineage also. So
Right.
I was lucky. I came from that kind of good family.
Yeah.
I remember being 7 years old with my aunt working on my third eye.
That's
So
awesome.
that is how I was raised.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was a teenager that I realized, oh, not everybody's doing this.
Everybody can
This
do this like I
this is
can.
different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So how did your family react, or how do they react?
So my family of origin has all passed. I was a child that came into their family when they were my parents were in their late 30s. My brothers were in their mid to late teens when I was born. And so humor was big in my family. And they did, as I indicated with the UFO thing, Dad wasn't averse to listening about anything I wanted to talk about, but Mom was really connected. She was very connected. And so whatever she happened to her would make sense that I would be doing the same type of thing. And so my own family, I have two of my own blood children, and one is almost 48. The other one is 41, will be 41. And they went to everything I ever went to when they were growing up. They went to powwows, they went to Unity Church, they went to seances, dream interpretation. I brought
You
them
were like my
everywhere.
mama. That's the nasty. You were, yeah.
And they also would laugh at me about my Buddhist garb, they called it, if I wanted to wear a saffron outfit or something. They both are their own people. My son is an atheist, and I don't believe he believes in any. He thinks when you die, you die. And it's like, I didn't bring you up that way. But he's got a little bit more of his father in him than I do. But my daughter, they're both humanitarian. I guess that's the best word to say. They love this thing in Gaza has got my daughter all turned around. And now, of course, it's here. And that's upset her. So she's and she's a therapist. So she's all about helping people. What I do is not something they're interested in, but they're not adverse to it either. So I'm very lucky that way.
That's a good point that I want to throw out real quick. Has very little to do with our interview, but it's a side note, you guys. People in our community who naturally feel the pain of other people and the energies of the area around them and the world in general. For everything to be happening right now the way it is just a nightmare for those of us. We talk about going into Walmart at Christmas time. This is on a global scale. So
absolutely.
The reason I bring that up is, please, before you go to bed, ground yourself, everybody. Okay, make sure the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up is ground yourself. When you're in the shower, imagine all that cooties going off your body. Now, here's the good thing. Don't just imagine it washing off your body. Imagine it going down the drain.
That's right.
Because if you don't, you're going to create a puddle of psychic bullshit, and you don't want that.
That's right.
Your sons, you had made a comment about how he commented on Darla. Has his gifts developed more as time's gone by?
Yeah, no, he's the one that's the atheist or the humanist. He's really, I'm hoping he wakes up at some point. But he's got some tough things going on in his life and has for a while. And his dad, let's put it this way. He's my son's very liberal, but his dad is not liberal. And that will tell you everything you need to know. So,
right.
But my brother, who was 13 years older than I am and has passed, he's the one, another person I could talk about. I should have remembered that, metaphysics or anything about, because he was very metaphysical. And he went to Echelon Institute and met all kinds of people at the time.
Wow.
In the 70s. He was big into that. So yeah, I had that in the 80s and 90s. I had that person to talk to whenever I could talk. Yeah.
Julie says she's got one of those type of kids, very intuitive. Encourage that, girlfriend, because one day that child is going to be guiding people. So
yep. That's
all right. Now we've completed the first 7 cards, and in the major arcana, the first 7 cards deal with the physical realm. So we've gotten through that. Let's take a quick break to look at the chat.
Okay.
I see Debbie Switch's blog. See, I love this. Your son went to every powwow with me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. We're half Mexican, half Native American. So it was just a given. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
That spirituality was part of life. It's just
built in. It is.
Yeah.
Well, I know why Garnet likes me so much. It's because my family all came from the UK, and my grandparents came over in like the 1910s. So, my father.
One of my best friends is in the UK. Well, I say one of my best friends. Y'all know him, Chris Butler. He's the guy I tell things to that I can't tell anybody nearby because I don't want to. He's my long distance confidant.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Looks like we're caught up there. All right. So now we're into the mental realm. We've got the strength card, and this embodies courage inner strength and resilience. How do you
Uh-huh.
handle those times when you feel, or do you feel gutted, when you just feel like, I don't know if I can get up anymore? How do you deal with
We
that?
all have them. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah,
Fortunately, since I've been in this community, people are right there ready to help me and listen to me and do this. They do the same. And so I'm happy with that. But most of the time I was on my own. I had to plan both parents' funerals. I actually sang at one parent's funeral and I did the eulogy at the other. And when other family members get dying, I'm the one that handles it. I'm the glue. And then afterwards, I usually fall apart. So I have
right.
the strength and I have the resilience, but I also say, okay, now it's my time to, rest. So, yeah.
That's part of my function in our community, I've noticed, is to grab people by the ear and say, hey, you're reading for all these people. Are you taking care of yourself? And
Yeah.
I know a lot of us do it, but it's
Yeah.
a big thing with me. I
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
care about my friends and I don't want to see them burn themselves out.
Sure. Yeah. Because we
Um,
can do it very easily. We can.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you had talked about humor. I use humor in my readings. I'm what's called a
Oh,
Heyoka empath.
I
So
love it. Yes.
I'm a sacred clown.
Yep. There
Um,
you go. Mm-hmm.
if I'm not making you cry, I'm going to make you laugh. It's just, you're going to do one or the other in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
readings,
It's a
sometimes
lot of
usually
fun.
both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, do where do you find your strength?
Um, I was always, I grew up in New England. I grew up 40 miles north of Boston and staunch, New England family. And hi, Val. And you always did whatever needed to be done. And if that meant you had to work 4 or 5 jobs, if that meant you had to give up going somewhere, if that meant that, and I really felt like that was my duty to do that and still am
Duty.
doing. Yeah, it's like a duty. But at the same time, I'm the only one in my family that has still worked after 60. And I mean, they're all dead, so they certainly can't work now, but everybody
Thanks to the
retired
Lord.
early. Yeah, everybody retired right around then. And I'm almost 70 and I haven't retired yet. So, yeah. Yeah.
I admire you because I'm 55 and I just want to bury my face in the pillow. I can't
I
do this
know.
anymore.
I know. There are plenty of
Uh,
days I feel that way, Bobby. Yeah, there are.
I've got 2 kitties and 5 doggies, and they are my strength. My husband is my strength, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is where I draw.
That's right.
Um, I made notes. Let me see if I caught up. Did that? Did that? Did that? Nope, we're good. Okay. So our next card, my dear, is the Hermit. Now, the Hermit
Ah,
symbolizes introspection, wisdom,
yes.
and solitude. Looking back at the past, what is the one thing that gives you the most that you can't get past? You just
In a good or bad way?
either.
Oh, okay.
I want to know where your mind goes back to.
Okay. Um, so I dropped out of college, my bachelor's degree college when I was a senior with 20 credits left. And my mother was mortified. Oh, promise me you'll finish. Promise me you'll finish. And I said, yes, I promise you I'll finish. And so over a period of time, I ended up having my daughter and then got married twice. And I was sitting, I had to finish mostly math. I had problems in math. So I was taking a class and my ex-husband was helping me do it. It was in math. I managed to get through that. I managed to get through the next class with another husband. And he was away when I was going to graduate. He wasn't going to be there when I graduated, but I knew I had a graduation date. I knew I was graduating in 1988. So it took me 11 years from the time I dropped out.
You graduated in 88? I graduated in 87.
Well, but remember, I had 11 years. I was supposed to be in 77, right? Yeah. And
Right,
so, yeah. So I sent out the graduation stuff to my parents and to friends and stuff. And my mother got the graduation thing, and she's like, I am so happy. And I fulfilled that. I fulfilled that promise. And I felt really that was important. And my mother dropped dead the next day.
I am so sorry.
And so it was like, the only thing I can say is she knew I was going to do it. And she knew she was, my dad went to the graduation and everything. But it was like, if I had only done it earlier, then she would have been able to go, and it was promised to her. But at the same time, I know no one's really dead. We're all just in different dimensions. So
no, after my dad passed, our relationship got a lot better. It became a lot easier to talk to.
Sure, of course. That makes sense.
Well, he was abusive towards my mom and us. But towards the end of his life, he went through that, oh shit, I'm going to die, and just started changing. So I got to know him in a better way before he passed.
That happened with my husband's dad. Yeah. He got, his dad died at 52. My husband was probably like 24, and they never talked until then, just before he died. So that can happen. And fathers and sons are hard, I think. Yeah.
I get some of my best help and advice from my dad.
Good.
He may have been abusive and psycho at times, but it wasn't his fault. He was in Vietnam and he came back wrong.
My brother was too. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I loved him, but I knew to sidestep very carefully.
Sure, of course.
But he was a very wise man, and hearing his, I call it hearing his memory, the memories I have of him guide me. And
that's beautiful. My dad is one of my guides. He was just really special for me.
Yeah. I work with my ancestors a lot.
That's cool.
They're witches and psychics. I might as well. They're there. Come on.
They're there, right? They don't have anything else to do.
So here we got our next card is the Wheel of Fortune. Now the wheel is natural cycles, change of luck. Would you say your life is rolling in the way you want it to, or what is your goal? Because you strike me as somebody who's never going to be satisfied. You're always going to be doing.
I like learning new things all the time, and I know there are natural cycles. I don't feel like, I know I was brought here for this time period, like many of us, all of us probably that are here, because we wouldn't be together if we hadn't done that. I am a little more discouraged than I normally would. I would really like to retire, and I'm feeling like all the shenanigans that are being done by the Doge department are making that even harder decision, because what if all that goes away and I won't have, then what will I do? And so
I had my benefits cut, and
I bet you did.
And
sorry.
I panicked. No, it's true. A lot of my friends did, and I was panicked. I'm still reeling from it.
Sure, of course.
And, there are people in my life that, on the other side of the family, that I can't talk about this stuff with because they are red hat wearing.
Yeah, a lot of us have that.
I'm not going to say anything negative because they are my loved family. I do love them, but it just breaks my heart that they're caught in this insanity.
I agree with you 100%. I can't fathom the adoration and the going along with the things that have been done. Yeah.
But let's not talk about that. We're talking about fun stuff.
We'll move on.
So let's talk about the Hanged Man. Oh no, we skipped justice. We can't skip
Oh,
justice.
please don't skip justice. We all need justice.
Oh, there it is. My cards are out of order. That's why.
Oh,
Okay. So, justice signifies fairness, balance, and truth.
yeah.
I love this card.
Mhm.
You are a Libra. This is a card of
That's
Libra.
yes, it is. Yeah.
Talk to
Um,
me about your sense of balance.
I'm all about that. I have such a hard time with people that believe. Well, I had a big show on Saturday about anti-intellectualism, and it's just I hate othering and whataboutism and you're woke or you're not woke or whatever it is, and treating women the way that they've been treated and treating veterans and LGBTQ folks and you
You
name it.
see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of gay person who sits back and says, "Oh, please don't hurt me like that."
Oh no,
I'm
no.
the kind of gay person who is a witch, and I'm a
You're
spiritual
dynamo.
warrior,
You're
and I'm a
dynamo.
Mexican warrior. So
Yeah.
I will hurt somebody. I have hurt somebody that's come for me before.
Mhm.
I know
Mhm.
how to defend myself. Daddy made sure I knew how to defend myself. So
That's good. That's
I'll
good.
give
Well,
you
I've been
that.
an ally since, the 70s. A lot of my friends came out of the closet and that was not done then. And, I remember in 1975 going to a gay bar with a couple of my gay friends and it was a buck a drink. It was awesome. And we danced all night. We had such a great time, but and my mother was there at the door to help me up the stairs. She knew where I went because I told her where I went. And she's
Right?
like, come on, I'm going to help you up the stairs. And, my friends all protected me. They all said, this is Aley and she's straight, but she's partying with us. And they're like, oh, yeah, and just made me one of them at the time where nobody else ever did anything like that I knew because it was all about justice. It was all about
Yeah.
fairness. They love somebody else. It doesn't have to be a male, female, So, yeah. Yeah,
I'm
it's good.
lucky that I surround myself with people who are intelligent. I
There you
don't
go.
like people who have their heads stuck up their butts.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
can't see beyond yourself, then there's a problem here.
Uh-huh.
Um, has your sense of fairness and balance have gotten you into trouble?
Um, the hardest thing about being a person who advocates for other people and also being afraid of authority figures all her life, it hasn't really gotten me into trouble, but it has quieted me down a bit. Sometimes now I'm ready to die on this hill because I'm at this age, I'm at this point, but before I might have been a little more shy about it, or not so out there about it. But now,
No, I can't imagine you being shy, my dear. I just see you as being 10 feet
about
tall.
authority figures.
I
No, but authority figures though. I didn't like I was a person that did not like arguments or confrontations. That was hard for me. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was, yeah, I'm not going to go into that. So, well, I just realized what I was about to say. I'm like, no, can't talk about that on here. All right,
Okay.
because it's
Yeah.
dirty. So now we've got the death card. We've got transformations, endings,
Yeah.
rebirth. Um, now let's remove this so I can show my pretty card. There we go.
Beautiful.
Now, when I see the death card, I think of two other cards. I think of the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower. Both of
Yeah,
them, I mean, all three of those cards are endings. They're
they
just
are.
different types of endings.
Hmm.
So we had the Wheel, which is a natural change. Now we've got the Death card, which is a more sudden change. How do you handle change? Do you
I
flow
love
with
it.
it? Do you love it? Um,
Mhm.
Honestly, when I think of this card, I think of my grandmother, and for some reason, I can't get past that thought. Grandmother. What were your
Yeah.
grandparents like
They were dead before I was even born.
before you
Uh,
even? Well,
Yeah.
Did you hear stories about them?
Hmm.
I'm after a bloodline
Mhm.
situation here. Do you
Okay.
think there was psychic ability in your
Oh,
ancestry?
I see. I see. Um, my father's parents, or my my grandfather, was a real lazy. He had his wife's brother, who was a surgeon, take care of him. He didn't work for a long time. That's what I heard about him, and he was very grouchy. My his mother was also named Alice, and she and my mother's name were Alice, and I was named Alice. So there's a connection that way. And she was the kindest, most wonderful person that one could ever imagine. So I'd like to think I got some of that, even though, and her daughter, who was my aunt's dad, I'm sorry, is my her daughter was my aunt and my dad's sister, and they were 19 years apart. So she was kind of like my grandmother. And so I did have that connection. My mother's parents, her mother died when she was 5. She had nothing, nothing to go on.
Wow.
And her dad died probably when she was, I don't know, maybe 30 at the most. Yeah. So whether or not they had psychic ability, I don't know. Some of the other relatives I've had, interestingly enough, one of my relatives was from the Arnold family, and Benedict Arnold was one of my relatives. It's just an interesting thing, but they were all, my dad went back to 1099 in a genealogy. And,
Uh-huh.
we had all kinds of cool things in England going on. We had knights and things like that. So I like to think that part of my interest in the pagan stuff had a lot to do with my lineage. Yeah.
I know that half of my family has strong psychic abilities, and the other
Okay.
half is just psychotic. But um,
They use psych in a different way.
psych in a different way. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We're continuing on with this, but I want to take a minute to say hi to the people who had just joined us. I saw Iron Horse Jeff, and Jeff came in.
Hi, Jeff.
Um, everybody who's joining us, I love this name, Illumination Portal.
That's my friend
I
Valerie.
look,
She's on channel. Yeah, she's wonderful.
I love the names. How did you decide on your channel name? I forgot to ask you that.
Originally, my husband and I were supposed to do the channel together, and we were going to be doing subtopics and interviews and things like that. And he was on maybe twice with me in the very beginning. He and I came up with it because I said I wanted to be something about I didn't want the body, mind, and soul. I wanted the heart in there, and I wanted the soul in there. And I said, why don't we just connect them? And so we said, oh, then we'll just put it all together. I had a hard time for people to find me in the beginning because, well, it's hard for every channel, I think, in the beginning, but it was really
Yeah,
hard because they split this up. So, yeah. Anyway.
I love that. I was supposed to do something similar with my husband. We were going to do an
How were
influencer
you?
thing. Well,
Uh-huh.
he's part of it, so he gets things sent to him. He just got a giant outside barbecue grill thing sent to us. I'm running out of places to put this stuff, and I wish he would stop bringing it home. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we were supposed to do that together, and then he just focuses on him, so I'm stopping it's no fun.
Is he
All
Gemini?
alone.
Is he a Gemini?
No, he's Capricorn. I married the
Oh,
devil.
Capricorn. I have a
And I,
Capricorn rising. Yeah, that's why I used to do taxes and work in banking and did all that before I became a teacher. Yeah.
practical. Yeah,
Very.
awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, so everybody sip, sip if you're following along
Yeah.
at home, as Gerald would say. I just wanted to show off my cup. It says,
Oh, do you have a Saint
I'm.
Bernard?
It's not
Or
easy being the princess. No, I just wanted a really big cup, and this
I
was the
love
biggest
it.
one I could find.
It's gorgeous. And look who I have. I have my favorite person in the entire world is Freddie Mercury. Yeah. He's not dead to me.
He was awesome. Freddie Mercury helped shape my singing career. I like to sing, and that's a whole nother story.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Got it.
Now we're up into temperance.
Mm.
We're moving along, and temperance embodies another card of balance, moderation, and harmony. This is Sagittarius energy, healing.
Hmm.
Um, what are your opinions on ancestral healing?
Oh, so important. Oh my God. Yeah. I believe that we can heal our ancestral line, and we need to, because um, we don't need to carry all that baggage, number one. And we need to make sure that whatever is carried forward in I don't know, a less laborious way. It's interesting you said it was Sagittarius, because my daughter's a Sagittarius, and my hardest relationship was with her. It was hard to find temperance in that relationship, and now we're fine. We're great. Hi, Peace Mama. But growing up, well, she was my biggest challenge and the hardest. So it's important for me to go through ancestral healing, especially for her, even though she doesn't have children and doesn't want them, just for her to heal, because she's needed it more than anything. Yeah.
I have been flipping and flopping on the ancestral healing part. I know I
Yeah.
need to focus on my life, but I do want to work on cleaning
Yeah.
up
Yep.
the ancestral line here. Um, I've said it live before. One of my ancestors was a very, well, if you're looking at it one side, he was a revolutionary. If you're looking at it on the other side, he was a mass psychotic murderer, um,
Yeah.
responsible for the death of thousands. Um,
It
so
happens.
that is
Yep.
something I really want to focus on cleaning up. And of course, that falls on the other side of the family, not the
Of
witchy side.
course it does. What the
Of
hell's going
course
on?
it was. Couldn't be. All right. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so let's talk about Capricorn now. Um, the Devil card is associated with Capricorn energy.
Oh,
And this symbolizes temptation, materialism, and control.
okay.
Um, Funniest argument I ever got into with my husband was him going on about something and I wasn't really listening. And out of nowhere, I turned around and looked at him. I said, "Do you know Capricorn in tarot is the devil card?" And I walked away.
Oh, Lord. You didn't win the point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't like that at all. But
Mhm. Yeah.
um, Capricorn energy is very practical.
Yep.
You are a study in duality.
I am.
You are what I call root chakra and crown chakra, both together in one
Yeah, pretty
space.
much. Yeah. I agree
Um,
with you. I do. And then I got a Pisces moon, which makes me a sobbing fool sometimes. I get hurt easily.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that Pisces moon is probably what plays a big part in your psychic abilities. Uh,
I think so. I do. Yeah.
Pisces is the house of
Of the psychic. Yeah.
psychic powers, and
Mm.
the moon is another card of psychic powers, both water cards.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
the I came from a rough past and had a rough youth. I had problems with addiction when I was younger. Have you ever
Mm.
had any problems with addiction, alcoholism, anything like that, or had to face it with somebody close to you?
It was a big problem in the family. And the family, and further back into the grandparents, there was a lot of drinking, and there was a lot, of course, smoking was what everybody did.
Oh yeah.
When I was in college, I drank all the time, and it was wonderful. And I say I drank more when I was in college than I would have ever drank in my entire life. That's how much that was how concentrated it was. And I don't like drinking it. And I feel like it also affects your psychic abilities. It can, and smoking does, and drugs do, and all that. But my biggest addiction was food, because I got up to like 239 pounds. And it was after my mother died. And I just was eating my woes, you know. So that's another big problem. And so it is a real problem to be addicted to food and the stuff that isn't any good for you, you know, candy and chips and things like that. So, yeah.
Maria, we're not taking divinatory questions, but if you have a question for Aley on her journey, please by all means
Yeah.
post it. Somebody had put Capricorns do well in government because Capricorn deals with public identity, and that's politicians
Yeah.
all the way.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
The Tower card is next up. Now, we talked about the natural change of the wheel, the sudden change of the death card, the spiritual change, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
The Tower is just excuse my language, everybody, a fucked up card when you come right into it. There's no way around it. It's ruled by Mars, which can rock your foundations.
Sure.
Can you give us
the war planet?
A situation where your foundations were just rocketed?
Yeah. Had a lot of what I call tower moments, really. I think you have to rip something down in order to build something up. So that's how I look at the Tower card. It's like, this is no good anymore. So let's tear it down and we'll rebuild it from where it is. And I would say that my divorces probably have been those Tower moments because I've walked away from 3 or 4 homes in my life and started from scratch. Yeah. So, and never look back, really, never look back. Just said, no, it's not my where I want to be right now and not who I want to be with right now. And so it's time to go and find where I need to be and how I need to be, which a lot of people would have a really hard time walking away. Women don't always screw over men. Not always. Yeah.
Women. Okay, here's my opinion on that. Men treat women so badly that they don't have much recourse. They can't, for the most part, kick your ass.
True. Yeah.
There are women who can kick ass. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there are warrior women, warrior goddesses. But for the most part, my friend Joey is about 4 foot nothing. She's my best friend. Okay, but I'm scared to death of her.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I think that men shouldn't be surprised if they force women into a corner and they come out swinging or walking away. You brought it on yourself. So what you were saying about the Tower, yes, I just posted on Facebook.
Right.
This
is
a result of this.
Okay. It is. So, find your happiness. Find your bliss, as Joseph Campbell would say. Yeah.
If shit blows up, people rebuild. Find out what the fatal flaw was. What was the Jenga piece, and work around it.
Yep.
You have an opportunity to go forward. So let's talk about our next card, which is the Star.
Oh,
and
I love the
Star. Where is it? There it is. Signifies hope, inspiration, and renewal.
Yep.
This is also Aquarius energy. So even though this is guidance, and I'm looking around my card, even though this is a card of guidance and direction, it's also Aquarius. And Aquarius energy will walk away if they're not satisfied with something. You're a healer. I've seen you heal on your show. I've seen your words touch people. Your words have touched me.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you.
It scares me to think of the world shutting down voices like ours that only want to enlighten. Normally, I would have asked about the direction you're going in. But when I think about you in direction, it's not a forward direction. It's a continue. I guess you can't see.
Yeah.
It's going
Yeah.
out this way.
It's circuitous. Yeah, it's circuitous or spiral. Yeah. Yeah.
Circuitous. I love that. That's a great word.
Yeah.
I'm seeing two different questions here. One is about emotions and one is about the mind, because I'm seeing the water down here, which is something I usually don't take into account when I see this card. But how do your emotions affect your decisions?
That's a great question. How do my emotions? I'd say they probably do most of the time. When I met my current husband, I was in a chat room back in 2000. We were talking about book writing, and he popped in. He and I were only people in there, and we had a conversation. I said, "Why don't you? Here's my email. Send me when your book comes out. I'd like to see it." Hi, Miss Tarot D.
My Ruka just showed up.
And so we ended up corresponding for, I guess it was 4 months, 3 months, 4 months. And I knew right away that I would marry him or be with him. I knew it. I just knew it. And so I never met him. I didn't know him. And I left my home and I left everything in it, and took my dog and my son, because my daughter was in college, and met him in El Paso at the pass. And
all right, now I'm going to hear out in the West Texas town of El Paso.
That's right. So, yeah. So that was emotions. Totally. There was not a lot of thinking involved, I guess, is the best way to say it. Yeah.
So is that an isolated instance where you acted on instincts
Pretty much.
to jump on a good thing? Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. And yeah, you usually don't end up meeting somebody within 4 months, then meet, online, and then meeting them. This is way before all this internet dating.
right.
But we got a lot of pushback. It was like, well, you don't know him. He might be a serial killer. I'm like, no, I know him. I just know him. So I knew he was somebody that I knew before or whatever. And yeah. And I got him out of Kentucky. That's pretty hard to do. Yeah. And I was the damn Yankee and he's the Reb,
I was going to say damn Yankee.
Everybody did that when they knew me. Oh boy. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
You said damn Yankee, and my thought went right out of my head.
That's all right.
Yep, no, gone. Okay. So
it's squirrel. That's what we
I
say.
totally squirreled. Oh, look who showed up. I meant to tell you, Miss Tarot D, that your message that you left for me the other day, I was sleeping when you called. It got me through the day. I had a very interesting day that day. And when I got home, I watched it like 3 times.
Oh, isn't that nice? That's so nice. Yeah. We love our people here, honestly. Yeah.
It was very sweet. We have an amazing tribe online.
Yep.
We really do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had mentioned the moon earlier. The moon represents illusions, dreams, and the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a dreamer?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I have a dream show every Tuesday night.
Which is why I asked the question.
Yeah.
I am not a dreamer.
Oh, no.
I just, which is funny because I work with the Lord of Dreams, certainly the bringer of dreams.
You just don't remember them, Bobby, because everybody dreams.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I wake up like this. My eyes fly open, and I immediately reach over and start writing things down because I keep a pad next to my bed because I know within 30 seconds I'm going to forget it.
Yeah, you can't get out of bed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, Selena, my homegirl. Selena is one of the people who has come into my life and made a difference.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
I love and
Yeah.
appreciate her.
Uh-huh.
Selena and Ramon join me every Thursday night on my
Uh-huh.
channel. Well,
An-
we
Another
jump
great
on
guy.
all their
Yeah.
channels
Uh-huh.
on Behind the Moon. So if you guys want to learn about divination and ancient Mesopotamia, that's what we're going to be talking
There you
about this
go.
Thursday night.
All
Yeah, we
right.
get
All
very
right.
interesting. Oh, I know, right? Where are we? So now we've got the creepy baby card.
Yeah, the
Uh,
creepy baby. Yeah. The
the
sun.
sun. Now the sun is all about joy, happiness, success, vitality, and abundance.
Mm.
Um, I would like to know. Hold on, that's a little too personal for the air. Um, have you been burned by somebody that you were trying to help?
Oh, yeah. Multiple times. Burned also by being ghosted multiple times as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is crummy. At least let me know why. That's all. Or if I reach out to somebody, and actually one of the people was my sister-in-law. She burned my mother, though. She burns everybody. So I get that. But there are other people that I invested a lot of time and energy in, and nothing. So here comes the sun. Do 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 do.
Here comes the sun.
Love it.
Now I
Yeah.
want to go see if I can find Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band
There you
to
go.
watch.
There you go. Yeah.
I used to have that album, a 33 album.
Cool.
Uh, yeah, it is heartbreaking when somebody that we're trying to help in some fashion turns around and burns us.
Yeah.
Um, when that happens, what would your advice be to those watching how to deal with those situations?
Well, I always take into effect as a silly Libra that a relationship is 50-50 at the very least. It should, maybe sometimes it's 60-40 or whatever. But even a friendship or even a relationship with another family member or whatever, it's never one person's complete fault, is the way I look at it. Try to give the benefit of the doubt. I've also taken back in people who have burned me, but that wasn't really very smart, because guess what they did later? They did it again.
Yeah.
So there are just some people that are going to do that. And so sometimes it's just best to cut the cord and move on. But it's not easy when you've invested time and energy, or you really felt like there was a good connection there, and you find out much later that they're very different from what you thought, but maybe they think you're very different from
Yeah.
them. I don't know. Yeah.
We as humans tend to try to fix other people. Um, I used to say that when I was younger. Oh, he's an awful human, but I can fix him. I can.
Everybody does that when they're young, but
Yeah.
unless you ask me, can you help me? Yeah, and even if you do, I can't fix you. You gotta turn around. It's like when we do the cards. This is the message. It may be just the message for right now, but if it says that you need to take some action, you're the one who has to take the action, not us. So it's the same principle, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. We can point things out, but we can't make them take
Yeah,
that first
no.
step.
And your kids, you can never do that, I don't think. And I know with mine, I never did it. I always roots and wings. It was like, no, I'm not going to do that with them. So,
Let's see.
oh well, maybe that's true, Miss Tara D. I maybe.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Yeah.
point.
Sometimes we don't get the message that we should have moved on. You're right. Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
knew when I used to be a hairstylist and a nail
Okay.
tech, and I did
Uh-huh.
that for many, many moons. And um, I knew I should have been doing other stuff. I read for my clients, my hair clients, I would read their cards.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I used to work in stores off and on. I knew I should be working in the spiritual field, but I doubted myself.
I
I,
know.
I didn't have the confidence. And for one reason or another, I just kept making excuses.
Uh-huh.
And the universe finally got sick of my excuses and gave me a brain lesion. And um, I had to have
Wow.
an operation, and I could no longer work in the field anymore
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Sure.
you guys
Sure.
see me
Makes
holding
sense.
up my
Yeah.
cards, they shake. Nobody wants me coming at them with shears like this.
No, that's
um,
true. Cards are one thing, but thank you, Miss
and
Tarot D.
I I thought that I would be a hairstylist forever at that point,
Sure
and the
you did.
universe said, "Nope." Um,
Universe has other plans. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and then I said, "Well, I don't have a tribe around me that I could discuss these." The universe brought them in. Well, I can't do this because the universe said, "Shut up." So,
Wake up, boy.
um,
Wake up. Yeah. Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I just decided I give, you win. And once I
Yeah.
gave in to what I was meant to be doing,
That's
life
right.
has been
Life
glorious.
just unfolds. You're absolutely
Yeah,
right. Yes.
it was
Yes.
glorious.
That's
So that is
wonderful.
my advice
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
everybody watching. Follow those dreams. It's
Yeah.
never too late. I'm 55, and
Uh-huh.
or I'll be 55 next month. Judgment symbolizes rebirth, judgment, and inner calling, which I was staring at this card, which is why I went off on that tangent right there, and I
That's all right.
apologize.
Oh, no
Um,
tangent.
One of the biggest problems people have, I've seen, is connecting with the divine.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How would you suggest people first start making those connections? What's a good starting point from your viewpoint?
Okay. Um, for me, growing up with, I guess at the time, how the church brought in some of that divine connection, but that's really not anything that I'm suggesting for anybody. But what I didn't know, and I was Protestant, not Catholic, was about the archangels until, a couple of years ago. And I also learned a lot about, guides and ancestral help as well. I think that for me, a prayer is a word, it is a thought, it is a flower, it is um, a breeze, um, and I want to make sure that they know that it's okay if they come in and talk to me and let me know if I'm going in the right direction. But when it comes down to kneeling down and, trying to connect with the divine, that is not the way I do it. It's kind of like the way I suggest meditation. I suggest that you go for a walk. That's my meditation because I just can't sit
Yes.
still. So, yeah, you keep doing that,
I
Vicky.
Here's the thing. When it comes to the divine,
Uh-huh.
um, I just said this the other night. I am most of the time very respectful. I
Hmm.
bow to my gods at my altar. I
Yep.
provide the offerings. I make my prayers. But there are other times, because my altar is in my bedroom, where something will happen. I'll hang up the phone and look at my altar and go, "Can you believe this bitch?" uh, the gods know me, right?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they understand this is what I'm
Uh-huh.
feeling. That's how I'm
Yeah.
going to speak.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
because sometimes I get soft, gentle messages. Sometimes
Mhm.
I get, you
Yeah. Yeah. Wake up, Bobby.
know, wake up, Bobby. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Um, I keep going back to the fact that you heal and transform people. Um, just by seeing you is a call to action.
Oh.
Um, we I used to do AIDS education, and one of the things we did during education was called viral handleitis. And what it is I say, I've got something called viral handleitis, and I shook somebody's hand, and then they shake a couple people's hands, and by the end, I don't tell them until the end that I have viral handleitis, and I say, now, if you shook my hand, raise your hand. If you shook their hand, if you shook, and everybody's hand is raised like
Right.
that. Well, not like that, but you know what I mean.
Right. I do know what you mean. Yes.
And you can see their faces like, oh shit, we're connected. Everybody that they
Of course
touch,
we
I
are.
touch. And
That's
that's an essential thing, but we're talking on a spiritual level here. When
mhm.
our light shines on somebody and affects them, they go out and their light shines on somebody and affects
That's
them.
right. That's
And
the
it's just
chain.
a
You've got the
continuous
chain.
chain.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful.
I cannot fathom how people fight that. Why would you want to continue a chain of negativity as opposed to being
Yeah.
part of
I don't
the
understand it
positive
either.
change? I don't
Right.
get it. It just blows my mind. The
Mhm.
only thing I can come up with is that some people are fives. Some people
Well,
are
yeah.
fives in
Yeah.
tarot. You know,
Right.
fives
Right.
in
Right.
tarot are
Yeah.
the jacked up cards,
Yeah.
and that's
I
their
have to
function.
think, I have to think that this is one of their first lifetimes and sort of say, okay, they're just a toddler or they're just an infant and they don't really understand. And, that works for a while, but it is really hard to deal with. I agree with you 100%. It is. You want to just say, I don't want to be around those people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And for the most part, I do cut them out of my life. Like you said earlier,
Right.
I'm an older
Yeah.
person now. I don't need your negativity in my life. So
That's right.
deuces.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
no, we're going to end on a happier note here with
Okay.
the world card.
Mhm.
This card here symbolizes, where's my left? Oh shit. I knew I had one. Uh,
Okay.
completion, achievement, fulfillment. It's also a card of travel. If you could
Mhm.
go anywhere in the world, or do you have plans to go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I would love to go
Anywhere.
to.
I'm giving you a black card to
You're giving me,
spend.
well, I've always wanted to go to Santorini in Greece, and I've always wanted to go to the UK. But I tell you where I really would like to go is I'd like to go back in time because time travel to me is like the most interesting thing I've ever thought about. And I'd love to see my parents again. That's what I would like to do. Yeah.
Um, I I wouldn't mind going back to certain specific events, but I'm not
Oh
going
no,
back in
this is
time. No,
only
no,
a
no.
visit, Bobby. No, this is just a visit. It isn't. It isn't
I
gonna.
was like, I'm brown. It doesn't go good for brown people in the past. No.
No, no. It would be a very specific event I would come up with probably, and it would have been when I was in high school, and in fact, it's so funny because when you showed the world card, the first thing I thought of was I spend a lot of time on YouTube listening to music from the 80s because I just the 80s meant so much to me for some reason, and I went back and watched We Are the World, and I
We are
was.
the children.
Like, but all those people, a lot of them are dead now. And it's like,
Yeah,
look at them
I
all
noticed
dead.
that.
I know. It's like that
It's
other song.
heartbreaking.
If there's a rock and roll heaven, they got a hell of a band. That's that's another song. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know it.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, if it Greece is somewhere I would like to go. I want to go see the Parthenon. I
Uh-huh.
want to go to Thessaly to see the origins of my
Yeah.
goddess Hecate.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not somebody who is excited about the idea of overseas travel, but I would like to go
No,
visit some
I'm not
friends in
gonna
Europe.
go because of that right now. Yeah.
I mean, even when things were good, I didn't
Oh,
want to
okay. You
get
didn't
on a
do it then.
plane. I
Oh,
didn't want to get on a boat.
yeah.
I've seen Samuel Jackson in that plane movie. No, it didn't go well for him. Um, I
Oh
I
God.
just
Yeah.
don't want to be stuck like this for however
No,
long
it is, it can be daunting for that long period of time. Yeah, it can be.
I'm
Very.
in around the world right now. We are
We got people everywhere here.
we
This
got
is the
people
place to
everywhere.
be.
You guys do me a favor in chat. Hey, Francine, how you doing? I didn't see you come in. Francine is a new channel, you guys, Purple Moon Tarot.
Okay. All
So
right. Welcome, Purple
head
Moon.
on over and check her channel out.
Yeah.
So yeah. I love pink. Oh, can you? I was going to say something before I saw Francine. You guys, can you do me a favor and put where you are watching from?
Oh, yeah, that
I'm
would be cool.
interested to see where we'll reach it. Thank you, Julie, for posting Ally's channel.
Yeah,
If you
that's
guys
cool.
are not subscribed to Aley, please subscribe. If you are not subscribed to me, please do so. I'm
Please do.
hoping to reach
Yeah.
my 500 mark by next month, a few weeks.
That would be awesome.
We've got Seattle in the house.
Yeah, that's me.
South Carolina, Missouri, Modesto.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
Miss Tara, she's on her sofa. That's where she wants to. Oh, you're a sofa surfer.
Oh, you're in London, my love. When I go visit my friends over there, I'll hit you up. We'll go have lunch.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Francine. Oh,
Derry, Pennsylvania,
Maryland,
Kansas City, Massachusetts, Bronx, Ontario.
Oh, they're all over, dude. This is fantastic.
Everybody,
you know,
yeah.
It just makes my heart happy to see how
Doesn't it?
far our shows reach.
Oh, yeah.
It really does.
We would never, ever, ever have met, but for
No,
this.
thank you.
And
You
that's
too.
what makes me so happy. It really does.
Yeah.
It thrills me.
Marina was the one who suggested I contact you also because Marina was on the Fool's Journey a couple months ago.
Yes, Marina's wonderful. I love Marina.
Yes. So here's the thing, ladies. I gotta stop saying here's the thing. Bad habit. Vicky's in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
If you have any questions for the lovely Miss Aley, please post them now because we're going to be wrapping it up soon.
Forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I just realized we've been on for an hour 40. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's 20 minutes longer than I normally go. I was just loving your talk.
Oh, well, you're so sweet. Thanks for everybody for hanging in there. Very kind of you. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to click on this and I keep missing it. Chat's moving. All right, screw it. Questions. Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
I am excited to hit the 500 mark. I was excited to hit my 100 mark. I'm just excited.
Yeah. It is fun. It's fun to build your community.
I'm doing the pet's head again. Okay, hold on. No, it doesn't look like there are
That's
any
fine.
questions. So, Wisconsin. Damn.
That's Jen.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for joining us to find out all about Heart and Soul Connected. Aley Martin.
Thank you, Bob.
Aley, you have been a pleasure. Stick around backstage because I want to talk about that show we were discussing.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody, love you all, but we got to go. Have a great night. Bye.
Take care.